Top 5 Coaches Heat Meter, Volume 2. We've got two big-time coaches that have now been moved on to the next phase of their career in Scott Frost and Herm Edwards. And here's the next. And I grade these based on different levels of things. So it's, all right, number 5, mandatory fire safety seminar is Neil Brown. If he can get a win against Virginia Tech, he'll move down into the warm room category. And if he can win throughout the Big 12, but loses to Virginia Tech with some of the games that have coming up in conference, I would say that his situation, guys, only gets hotter.
Do you know what his buyout is, Paul?
No, I don't. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a pretty big buyout. I think that's the big hurdle if you're West Virginia that you have to worry about if you're planning to try and fire him. I think it's something like $11 million or something, and maybe that's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but I do think he has a pretty significant buyout. Now, I'm not sure if it's a Scott Frost thing where, like, if you wait until this time, then it drops to this or whatever. And as we've seen with teams that, you know, Nebraska went and paid a bunch of money to fire Scott Frost to get their heads kicked in by Oklahoma. So, you know, teams will get rid of you when they're ready to. But, yeah, I think that West Virginia, a lot will just depend on how they play through Big 12 play. And Virginia Tech's obviously a fun non-con to kind of see more about them before Big 12 play gets in full swing. But already lost to Kansas. At least that doesn't look as bad as it did, you know, when it happened at the time. That is a saving grace for him. But, yeah, I definitely think it's warm right now in Morgantown.
Yeah. Number 4, the room is filling with smoke. Geoff Collins at Georgia Tech. And this just – it's so nondescript what they do. Like, you watch them play, and you're like, well, they were there.
Who was their first game?
Clemson.
Yeah, I watched that game. It seemed like there's a lot of, like, erratic timeouts and just the way they go about their business.
Yeah, it's just not working there. And Georgia Tech, admittedly, I think we talked about this last time we talked about Geoff Collins, it is not just they have the same kind of thing, like, to a certain degree that Stanford or Duke or Notre Dame would as far as academic standards that they've got to hit. But that doesn't mean, like, it's not like there's just a bunch of, guys with bad grades playing football everywhere else, but they're not hitting where their recruiting needs to be, and that's clear with the way that this team is.
Yeah, I think I might have even lowballed Neil Brown's buyout by like $5 or $6 million. It's somewhere between like a 12 and 20 million, so it's significant.
Yeah.
Geoff Collins, there's like, who cares about Georgia Tech right now? Honestly, I mean, what are they doing that anybody cares about? Nothing. Yeah. I mean, there's no mojo, there's no juice, there's no whatever term you want to use. It's just a flailing ship, and some people think that Dion in Atlanta would be a huge, boost for that program. He could go wild there as far as, the recruiting and the base. And just Dion and ATL, I think, running a college program, there's a lot to see how that could, be pretty exciting. I don't know if Georgia Tech's all in on that. That's obviously fantasy booking on Twitter and whatnot. But I think that they, with the ATL ties, as much as the school part of that makes them unique in that they're not just some diploma mill. There are some standards there. It is not just just taking a job in ATL. There are some caveats there, but I think there's definitely some room to be successful at Georgia Tech. It's just definitely not going to be Geoff Collins. That's very clear at this point.
Yeah. Number 3, crawling for the exit. Scott Satterfield at Louisville lost to the backup quarterback at Florida State the other night in a game on national television that Louisville was up multiple times in the second half and couldn't hold on. Lost to Syracuse earlier this year, although that team's undefeated right now. So
another basketball school unbeaten.
But this is a basketball school that's not unbeaten in Louisville right now. And the athletic director who hired him is out the door. This is a matter of time. And the other night, when you knock out there wasn't just Jordan Travis who was out of that game. Jared Verse and Fabian Lovett, their best two defensive linemen, one didn't make the trip, and then Jared Verse got hurt during the game. That's not good when you can't beat a team that is down that much, that is not really that deep. It blew the game to him last year, and that was a bad team that hadn't won any games yet. So Louisville is going to be looking for a new coach soon.
Yeah, it seems like it. There's not a lot of, again, mojo there right now, or a lot of belief in that program. And you thought after getting a big win, followed up, and everybody would, maybe get on a better course, but that didn't last very long at all. Yeah. So,
Number 2, stop, drop, and roll. This means you're actually on fire. Bryan Harsin got absolutely pummeled at home by Penn State. That one was just bad. Auburn's boosters are, all over the place to begin with, and that game is not going to be good. I mean, that's not going to be good for his resume or anybody on that staff's resume. That is just bad. And I think they've probably felt already that he's not a fit. He's probably a fit at a ton of other places in this country, but not Auburn.
Yeah, you guys have said, I thought it was a little bit early, but they got smoked at home. They did. Penn State beat them up. And Auburn, like Arizona State, like Nebraska, they're looking for a reason. They don't even have to have a reason, but this one's on life support.
I mean, it's heading that direction, if not already there for some people. I mean, again, it's not like they're pulling the plug tomorrow. Let's let it play out a little bit more. But yeah, it's all the signs are there that this is inevitably going to end at some point sooner rather than later, and that Auburn's going to go a different direction. Some of the support he had, obviously gone now, and they made the change at AD, and then turn that around and a few weeks later, a couple weeks later, whatever. When did they do that, the AD move? Was that like 3-4 weeks ago? Yeah. I mean, and here we are a month later, and he's getting his head kicked in at home by, Penn State. TJ Finley's not going to win them a bunch of games. They're just, that's not very good at Auburn right now, and they haven't even started SEC play yet. So you can only imagine how that might go. Maybe he saves some face in that respect, but it's hard to see how.
Yeah. And number one, the humanity. Karl Dorrell at Colorado, who after the game said, I like our enthusiasm, but not our production, which to me means I've got a whole lot of kids who like playing football. We just suck at it. And
then the famous AD support thing.
Oh, yeah, that happened today.
Vote of confidence?
That was last night, the vote of confidence.
Yeah, the vote of confidence. That's just bad for Karl Dorrell at Colorado, and they in Georgia Tech, to me, the other ones like Louisville at least has some pizzazz. West Virginia has some pizzazz. But Colorado and Georgia Tech just have become so nondescript in the way that you think about them in the college football world that, I mean, that's just, how do you recruit to bland? And that's what's going on there right now.
They're awful. They're one of the worst programs in the entire country. This is inevitable. I don't know what his buyout is. I think it actually is a little bit hefty. That's probably what we need to kind of like keep in mind with a lot of these. Not that they're barriers completely, because as we've seen again, there's multiple coaching jobs that have opened in the first 3 weeks of the season. But this is a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of when, not if. And I don't see how in the world he could possibly turn this ship around. Not necessarily all his fault, I guess, but it's just in a really bad spot. They're awful. They're absolutely awful.
Colorado fires him on December. If they fire him on December 31st, it will owe him $7.8 million. That's determined by a clause in his contract that calls for a buyout of $11.4 million minus his earned salary base. So that's not in this day and age when these guys are making so much money, the schools, the programs. But that's still a chunk.
That's doable, though. I thought for some reason it might be higher than that, like more in the double digits. But if they wait, I mean, that's somebody will write that check, I'm sure. $7 million can prevent you from completely tanking this thing even further, which I don't know how much further it could actually go down. I mean, that's the kind of trajectory Colorado's on at the moment. They're really bad.
They are just like they're almost like you don't even remember, and it's sad that they play football.
It's become bland.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Thank you very much, Paul. In the top five, Jack McKenzie, Emery Winter, also